product manager, or what are the important things for a product manager? Okay, few more questions in the chat. But you have mentioned that a product manager is the owner, but not the CEO in your slides. Yeah, that's what I said. Product manager is not the CEO. They are the owner. And the difference is CEO is able to has authority. Other people do not have authority. Since PM is in the center of these three, is it necessary for a PM to think in all these factions? If yes, to think in those ways, they should have some sort of an experience in those areas. So it is a learned experience. You need to have some understanding of tech, some understanding of UX, some understanding of business. But you are not expected to be experts. You're not expected to have UX degrees or tech degrees or business degrees. I did not have any of those things when I became as a PM. I learned them on the way. So you should be willing to learn these things and get an understanding. You don't really need a degree to do these things. Cool. So yeah, a lot of people had asked, what are the important things of becoming a product manager? What are the key traits of a product manager? A product manager is expected to be jack of all trades. And the same question that I was trying to answer, right? You need to understand some part of business, some part of technology, some part of UX to become a product manager. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule states, just drop a yes in the chat if you know what the 80-20 rule is. Okay, only one person said yes. Others do not understand. Some people do. Okay. Yeah, it's Pareto. I'll explain. 80-20 means you can solve 80% of the problems of a given domain by knowing only 20% about that domain. So for example, if a doctor knows 80% of medical, 20% of medical science, he will be able to solve 80% of the medical cases. But for the rest remaining 20%, he has to gather that additional 80% knowledge. And that's what applies here as well, right? For you to be a good engineer, you need 100%. Good UX designer, you need 100%. Good businessman, you need 100%. For a product manager, you only need 20% of all of these. So you need to understand UX 20%, tech 20%, business 20%. So you are a jack of all trades. You understand everything a bit. You're not an expert in anything. You're only an expert in understanding customer problems. So that's really what a product manager is. It's the core of product manager, knowing 20% about everything. And then there are a few other traits that I've listed out, and these are by no means exhaustive. There are a lot more than this, but these are the ones that I felt are most important for a successful product manager. First one is they have to be agile. What do we mean by agile? Is the world around us is changing very fast. So as soon as we see changes in this world, we need to be able to adapt to these changes in the world. And yeah, we should be able to make changes to our roadmap, make changes to how we are working based on the changes in the world. For example, when COVID came at Flipkart, all our delivery orders were stopped because there was a lockdown. And the teams were agile enough to come back, see how can we deliver only to areas where it is allowed, only do deliveries for essential goods in different pin codes. We created a separate product to ensure that in certain pin codes, we are only delivering essential goods. In certain pin codes, we're delivering all the goods based on the government regulations. So we were agile. Within a week, we had this product out, right? Strategic thinker. You have to be able to think long-term, think strategically. How will your product evolve in the next 1 year, 2 years? Result-oriented. You should be able to drive results for a company. You should not be the one who just talks in the air about fancy things but never delivers anything. You have to also deliver products and create the impact that you have been talking about. Next thing is visionary. You should be able to think from a 10-year, 15-year vision perspective. Like, what is the vision of the product and how will the product be better the world be better if you make a successful product, right? So you have to be very visionary. You have to be a cross-functional leader. So as we said, right, product managers talk to different stakeholders. business, design, engineering, legal, sales, marketing, growth. They talk to all of these people. So you should be able to bring all of them together and lead them to a common goal of creating a successful product. So that's why you have to be a cross-functional leader. You have to be data-driven. Um, that is, any decision that you take should be based on data, either proxies, talking to customers, real data, but you should be able to focus on data and take the right decisions. You have to be an excellent communicator. What we mean by an excellent communicator is, again, you talk to different functions, different people. You need to be able to communicate really well. You should be able to make everything clear to everyone. In a domain like product management, nothing you cannot assume that people will understand, or common sense is something that is not assumed. Uh, Common sense is not assumed. It's not like you say something and you assume the other person to understand. It will not happen. There will be a lot of times people will mistake what you have said. So you have to be very clear. You have to write everything in a document. Every meeting that I go to, I have a written document prepared that I walk through to the people, because I work with teams that are based out of Beijing. The way I communicate in English versus how they understand English is also very different. So I ensure that there is no miscommunication. So you have to be a very excellent communicator. And this is one of the most underrated but most important uh, things of being a successful product manager. Then you have to be customer centric. So as we talked, you have to think about creating customer value always. You have to be empathetic. You should be able to think about how customers can, how you can put yourself in customers' shoes, think about how they would feel about using a product. And you have to be empathetic. You have to be a problem solvers. So every problem that you see, you should be happy, or you should look happy, or you should be enjoyed or excited by seeing complex problems. So you are a real problem solver. Anytime you see a complex problem, you enjoy solving it. With all of this, you have a lot of things to do. So you have to be a prioritization expert. Pick up only the right problems to solve, or pick up only those problems which are going to be very helpful, uh, for people to be solved. Only pick up those, don't solve everything. And then you are, of course, very decisive. You are able to take decisions, both reversible, irreversible decisions, with confidence. Uh, cool. Um, so this is what it is. There is a question in the chat. Um, I work in solutions. Sometimes while giving quarterly asks to PMs in company, they request for data. Given this is also a key pointer in your slide. However, there are times that there is no data. It's only about enhancing the customer experience. Maybe creating an extra API would reduce developers' work at the customer end. How do we manage such situations when there is no data but experience? See, um, there is always data, right? You can take, let's say you have run an experiment in the past where you have seen, if I make the page load faster by 1 second, the conversion improves. So that's your data, and that's your data to then reuse by doing another optimization on making a page load faster, right? That's the customer impact that you have, and then it's clear, right? At Hotstar, we keep focusing on how fast can we load the video for the customer. So as soon as the customer um, clicks on the video link, how fast can we start the video for the customer? That's a key metric that we track. So it's about improving the customer experience at the end. There are some people asking a question in the chat again and again. See, if I find the questions relevant, I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'll answer them in the end. So please don't ask repeatedly questions. I've seen your questions, just chosen to not answer because they are answered by the end. If I'm creating a service, then can I be a product manager of it? Yes, of course. Even services are products. Um, that's I think I made that clear. Cool. I will come to roles and responsibilities of a PM. Just give me 1 second. Now let's cover about the roles and responsibilities of a product manager. There are three key responsibilities of a product manager: product vision, product strategy, and execution. As a product manager, you're expected to do all of this: product vision, product strategy, and execution. And there is nothing really outside of it. Everything that you do comes as a part of these things, right? Uh, If you're if you're uh, basis on your role within the organization, right? If you're a younger product manager, you're focusing more on product strategy and execution. Um, if you're if you're a leader, your focus is more on product vision and product strategy. But essentially, you're doing all three always. So that's the responsibility of a product manager. Let's go a bit deeper to understand what this means. Defining the product vision. So first goal of a product manager is to define a product vision. Now, what does product vision is even mean? What is the importance of a vision? A compelling vision articulates how the world will be a better place uh, if you succeed, right? If you succeed in making your vision a reality, how will we make world a better place? That's the true importance of defining a product vision. And I will take a few examples. Mm. Google's vision is to provide access to world's information in one single click. Look at it, how powerful this vision is, right? They want to give access to every information to the customers in a single click. And let's say if this happens, it's a great problem solved, right? Everything that I want to know is available on a single click. I do not need potentially doctors, lawyers, or any specialists, because Google can provide that information to me. So if they are making this vision successful, it will be great for humanity. And that's the importance of a powerful vision. It's about creating the world a better place by delivering a product. Again, look at Meta. Meta vision is to give people the power to create communities, right? Uh, People have been working in communities for so long, and they have been creating those communities. What Meta enables is to create these communities without the boundaries of countries, physical boundaries. You can be anywhere in the world and create community with anywhere in the world. I can create a community with someone from Spain, Italy, France, US, Australia, New Zealand, and all of us can come together to create a community on Meta. Again, really powerful vision, right? I can talk to anyone, communicate with anyone from across the world on shared thoughts, and do it for the betterment of the society. So these are great vision statements, and that's how you create successful companies. You have very powerful visions, and you are working towards making your vision successful. But a powerful vision is useless if it fails to inspire people. The real goal of the vision is to inspire people. If you're not able to inspire people, then it's useless. It's not serving the purpose. Someone had just asked a question in chat. My question is how to collaborate with cross functional teams. How can I ask them to work on my requirement? See, everyone wants to create things that are going to be helpful for humanity, are going to have an impact on the world. If you are able to show people how their work is going to impact positively, then they will always be inspired. If you want a engineer to give their 100% on a Friday evening to deliver the product and take it to customers instead of just going out and party, they need to understand how their work is important and how their work is going to impact the world. And if, let's say, you don't have an answer to that, right? If you feel that your work is not impacting the world, then either you should think deeply about, are you doing the right thing, or change what you are doing. But everything that you do should ideally, in the grander scheme of things, make world a better place. And that's really important. And not just about product management. Anything that you do, it has to be the focus. Otherwise, you will not be motivated enough to work every day. Right? Uh, Just drop a yes in the chat if you all understand the importance of a good vision. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, awesome. Now, let's say once we have set out a vision and we have set out a great vision which is inspiring people, what should we do next? Comes product strategy. Product strategy is about you have set a vision, you have figured out that you want to solve something. Strategy tells how exactly you will dominate the market. How will you be the number one product or the number one company in the world? That's your strategy. And that's what product strategy is. Now, what does it include? It includes these 8 steps. There's nothing outside of that. If you do these 8 steps, you can run a startup, run a product, run a company. You just do only these 8 things. Now, what are these 8? Doing these 8 things is the tough part, of course. Not everyone is able to do them easily. But if you do these 8 things, you will be a very successful product manager, CEO, founder, or anything that you want to be in the product space, of course. I'll talk about all of these and take a few examples. I'll take example from Navi personal loans product that we had built when I was at Navi. Right? So I will go with that example so that all of you understand this better. The first part is choosing a target audience. Now, this is where most people will make a mistake. They will choose a very big target audience, right? So if I take the example of Navi personal loans and if I ask someone to choose a target audience, what people will say, everyone who is looking for a personal loan or a loan is our target audience. That's the wrong answer. Your target audience should be your most potential customers. These are the customers who will use your product even if the product is bad, even if the product is not good, it is lagging, it is not working properly, they will still be willing to use your product because it is solving a problem that they have. So that is your true target audience. In Navi's case, the target audience was people who have regular income but are not able to get loans from the traditional banks because the companies or the jobs they work are not recognized by them. So that was our target audience. Second thing is the problem that you are solving, right? What is the problem that you are solving for those target audience? In Navi, the problem that we were solving is they were not able to get the loans from these traditional banks. We were able to provide personal loans to them. So that's the problem that we were solving. The value you deliver to the customers, right? The value you deliver and the differentiation you create. Like, how is your product better than the other products in the market? And how is it valuable? Like, if I'm able to get a traditional bank from a traditional loan, still, is there merit in me coming to you? Or are you as bad as a traditional bank, but just giving me loans, right? So, what is the value you deliver to the customer? In our case, the value that we were delivering was that you could, it was a completely digital process. You could come onto the app, apply, in 2-3 hours, the money is sent to your bank account. So that was the value and the differentiation that we were creating, right? And it was with no hidden charges, nothing, just pure transparent process. So that was the value and differentiation that we were giving. If you compare it with a traditional bank, people would have to take leaves, apply for loan at the bank, and then eventually go ahead and take the loan. So it was a difficult process. We completely digitized it, and now there are a lot of companies in the market that are doing the same thing. So that's the differentiation we created. The next part is competition. Competition is you need to understand your competition really well. What all competition is doing, what are the different things they are doing. You take inspiration from them in some of the things that they're doing good, and other things that they are doing not good. You basically ignore them and not get distracted by them. So that's very important to understand competition and take them, not take them at their face value. Just see what good things they're doing, copy them. Other things that they're not doing well, do not copy them. Right? Now, let's say you've done all of these 5 things. What you will be able to do is create a very successful product. You will be able to create a product that once a customer starts using, They will love using this product. Just drop a yes in the chat if you're clear so far. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, awesome. The next thing is acquisition strategy. Acquisition strategy is basically, let's say, once you have created a successful product, how are you going to ensure that people know about your product? Let's say I've created a medicine that cures cancer, but no one is aware about that medicine. I have to go and tell to doctors, ki I have created this medicine, it cures cancer, right? If I don't go ahead and tell this to other people or tell this to other doctors, they will never know my product exists. They will never use my product. I'll never be able to get customers. So that's the next important part, how you acquire customers. And different companies will have different ways to doing it as to what works best for them. For Navi, we were running ads on Instagram, performance ad, performance marketing, and all of those. But we realized a lot of our potential customer base was very used to playing games like Candy Crush and these kind of things. So we started marketing on these kind of games, and that was a very big acquisition channel for us. So you have to see where your target audience lies and how can you make your product reach them. So that's acquisition strategy. Now, let's say you have the best acquisition strategy also. People will come onto the platform, use your product, will very happy. The next part is monetization strategy, or how will you make money? Okay, people love your product, they're using it regularly, but are you making money? Right? That's the next important part. So in our case, the monetization strategy was we are giving loans to people who are not able to get loans from traditional banks. So these are slightly riskier loans. So we can charge a higher rate of interest. If we charge a higher rate of interest, we get more money. So we take money from a bank at a lower interest rate, give to risky customers, which we know are going to, of course, pay back the loans, and charge a higher interest rate. So that's where how we were making money. That's a monetization strategy. And let's say when you've done all of these things, the last is success metrics, where you constantly keep measuring how well your product is performing, how well it is solving the problem that it is expected to solve, and keep on improving the product. So that's essentially what product strategy is. It's not simple as it may sound. It's a fairly complex piece, and it requires a lot more discussion about how to do this well. This is me just giving you a glimpse of what product strategy really includes, right? Can you repeat about acquisition strategy? Acquisition strategy is basically getting customers to know that your product exists. So whenever they need them, they are able to use that product, right? But if now Kavya is asking, but if those people are so risky to handle, how are you assured that they will pay back? So that's where our product comes in, right? We had created a state of the art underwriting ML model, which could look at SMS information, location information, contact list of the customer, and take a decision whether this customer is going to pay back a loan or not, and what is the amount that they can pay back or not. So that's what we were doing. The next part is execution. Now, execution, and a lot of people were asking before in the chat, what is the difference between a manager and a product manager? What is the difference between a project manager and product manager? This is the difference. A project manager is only focused on execution. They are not concerned about product strategy. They're not concerned about product vision. They are only concerned about whether the product gets executed, whether the plan gets executed or not. And that's really what's the difference between product manager and project manager. But product managers even go a step ahead in the execution part of it. Product managers just do not manage and take ETAs or take timelines on when something gets delivered, but they are willing to do whatever it takes to win. They are willing to do whatever it takes to land the product to the market. Even if the pantry is empty and there is no food in the pantry and you are not contributing in something else, it's your job to ensure that pantry is full with food so people can eat food and also continue to work on a product. So you have to take more roles beyond your current role to make the product successful, to make the product reach to the customers. So that's true execution. And if you do this relentless execution, then only you will be able to create your vision into a reality. So that's why executing with high determination is very important. Now, as a PM, while executing, you will have different phases of product development. And I will talk about these different phases of product development because that's very important. What are the different phases, right? The first, okay, someone is asking, can you please explain the last point, success metric? Success metric is just a measure of how well your product is performing. In our case, it was number of loans given to the customers, right? So if that number goes on increasing, then you are essentially creating a better product. Can you please explain differentiation part one? Differentiation part. Differentiation is basically how your product is differentiated or better from the existing products that are available in the market. Why will a customer use your product and not some other product? What is different in your product that is more valuable to customers? Now, as these are the different phases of product development. The first one is idea generation. Idea generation essentially is you have a problem that you have to solve. You come up with 20, 30, 40, any number of ideas to solve that problem. Then you prioritize and pick the best idea, the idea that you have the most confidence on that can solve the problem, and you pick that idea, right? So you generate one idea that you will build or create a product, and that's really it, right? So it's just one idea that you come up with. That's an idea generation. Brainstorm a lot of ideas, come to one single idea that is going to change the world. Next is requirement gathering. So once you have come up with an idea, around that idea, you will talk to all the other people. You will talk to your users who are potentially going to use your product. You will talk to sales, marketing, business, design, technology, all the stakeholders, and from them understand how they think about this product. What do they think that this product is expected to solve? So you gather all the requirements from your product for your product, or all the things that your product is expected to solve. Once you have gathered all the requirements, you define the product requirement, or you define the PRD, or write a product requirement doc, or the PRD. Now, PRD is very similar to like a director's script, right? If a person has a director's script, they can make the film even without director being present. And that's what really a PRD also is. Essentially, you are writing down everything that a product is expected to do and making it do that. So you're writing all of that down in a document. Once you have done that, you go to the planning phase. You discuss with engineering teams what are the key features that you will deliver in the first version, how much time it will take, how they will develop it. Once that planning is done, you do the development, like engineers write code and create the product. The next is QA. QA is basically you check if the product is functioning, the created product is functioning as it is expected to function. So you test the product in all the scenarios and ensure that it functions in the right way. Nothing is broken. There are no errors. Everything works smoothly. Once you have done the QA, you launch the product to customers. And then the next phases, you keep on improving the product and on and on. So that's the phases of product development. During these different phases, you will work with a lot of other people. You will work with business, design, analytics, engineering, sales, marketing, growth, leadership of the organization. You'll work with all of these people to create a successful product. Now I will go on to the case study. I will just pause 2 minutes to take questions. I'll not answer all of them. I'll answer the most relevant ones, but I'll just pause 2 minutes to take questions, and then I'll go on to the case study. Was this class is provided after live? Sorry, can you repeat your question? I didn't understand what this means. Can you provide examples of how you've influenced decision makers and stakeholders to support your vision and roadmap? Um, there have been few examples in the past. One was when I was building pre-order for Flipkart. I had to work with across lot of product teams. So I started with how pre-order is going to solve some of the key problems that Flipkart has. How is it associated with the overall vision that the company is focused towards for that particular year, and how solving this is going to help us reach that goal that the company has set for this year. So once people understand that how what the work they are doing is going to be helpful in the larger scheme of things for the company, they are basically influenced. They are able to support the product vision and roadmap once they understand this. Classes recorded? I know this classes. The recording will not be provided. Will you provide the PPT after session? No. Okay, I'll move on to the case study. The case prompt is Google has decided to step up. Okay, there are a few more questions, but I don't think we have the time to answer all of them. Good questions, but I'll see if I can answer them at the end. Um, Google has decided to step up and make Google Maps the go-to place for trip planning. You are a PM for Google Maps leading this. You have to build end-to-end trip planning experience for Google Maps. So let's say this is the problem that is given to you. You are the Google has decided to step up, and you are the PM for Google Maps, and you have to build a end-to-end trip planning experience for Google Maps. How will you go about it? Right? Let's say this is the problem that is given to you. The first step is you see whether this problem exists or not. Is this a real problem, or is this just something that has come to someone's mind, so they're talking about it? So we will just see whether it is a real problem to solve or not. And this is really the first step that you should always take while solving problems. So we see end-to-end trip planning is definitely a hassle. It's not solved. You have to go to different platforms to do different things. TripAdvisor for reviews, maps for navigation, Make My Trip to book tickets of how to reach, Airbnb to do where to stay, and Book My Show to decide what to do, right? Planning, of course, takes the joy out of travel. There are few examples that people have said, right? Wish I had a ready-made itinerary, too many options, I'm stressed. And most users do their, and tourism market is huge. It's growing at a CAGR of 3%. It is estimated to surpass a 8.9 trillion dollar mark, right? So it's a huge industry. Since it's a huge industry, it is worthy to spend time on. So we saw that the problem is real and the industry is also huge. So we will go forward and see how we can solve this problem. Objective. For then we need to understand, why does Google want to do this, right? Okay, we saw this problem is big enough to be solved, but is Google the right player to solve it? How does it help them? Google is seeing lower user engagement on maps. User are searching for places to visit and dropping off. Google wants to capture the user engagement from intent creation to intent realization. That is, when users start thinking about taking a trip to actually going on the trip, they want to capture this entire journey. Why? because this can help in overall engagement on the app. If we look at Google's business, it is primarily a ads business, correct? Everything that they do is essentially feeding into how they can create more money from ads. If people spend more time on Google Maps, they will be able to sell more ads on Google Maps. If they sell more ads on Google Maps, it makes more money to Google Maps or Google as a company. So now we know it's a important problem that needs to be solved for. It's a big market, and solving this problem benefits our company also. So now we will go deeper and trying to understand about this problem. This is the high level approach that we will take. First, we will look at the problem. What is the core problem? Why should it be solved? We have already answered it. Then we will look at users. What are the different kinds of users who face this problem? What are their characteristics, right? Then we go at the journey and the jobs. What is the user journey like? What are the most painful steps in their user journey? And we will solve for those most painful steps. And then we brainstorm, come up with solutions, and then create an MVP or the first version of the product. So that's the high level approach that we will take. Now, if I were to look at our users, right? If I were to look at users, we could divide users into 3 different segments. First is people who are traveling for work. Second is people who are traveling for leisure. And third is people who are, and I'll just stay on this slide for a minute. Someone asked me to go on to the previous slide. Just stay on there for a minute. So people traveling for work, people traveling for leisure, and then people who are traveling on a workation or for both work and travel, right? Now I will remove people who are traveling for work. Why I'll remove people who are traveling for work? Because their life is mostly sorted. They don't have to do anything. They just have to tell the company that where they are going, when they are going. And that's really it, right? They don't have to do anything else. They just have to tell. So their problem is solved. So we don't need to focus on them a lot more. Then we look at people who are traveling for vacation and people who are traveling for leisure. Let's ignore people for vacation also because it's a very small segment. Only 3-4% people would travel for vacation, and that number has that increased during COVID, but it has gone down massively now. Let's ignore that also. Now there are people who are traveling for leisure. You can further divide them. Are they doing it in groups or are they doing it solo? Right? If they are doing it solo, if they are doing it in groups, it can be further divided into couple, group of friends, group of family, right? Solo is solo. So we will choose a particular segment that we have to go after. Let's look at different elements of a trip. There are essentially 4 different elements. There is a planning phase, there is a booking phase, there is an explore phase, and there is a post-trip phase. In planning, you essentially decide the destination, dates, people, where are you going to stay, what are the places you're going to visit, and think about budget and all of those things, right? In booking, you will make all your booking, stay, travel, etc. Explore is essentially when you're on the trip and you'll do best things on the trip, enjoy on the trip. And post-trip, you will look on memories, split expenses, and all of those things, right? Those are the 4 elements of a trip. Now, as a product manager, you have to prioritize. You have to choose only one segment from here and one element of the trip from here and create the product for that first. You can't do all of it in one, right? So you have to pick and choose a persona and a service. How do you do it? You look at market size. You look what's most relevant for Google. Who are going to be the early adopters of this product? Around services, we will think about what are the existing players in the market. What are already solved problems? Anything that we should build from scratch or aggregate, right? And the overall goal is to Google wants to optimize for engagement. So think about that for a second, right? Basis that, I want you guys to come to a answer on which user segment should we choose and which element of the trip should we choose to create the first version of the product. Someone is asking what is MVP. MVP is the first version of the product. Persona is nothing but these different groups that we have created. So choose one user group and one element of the trip. So you can say solo travelers explore. You can say solo travelers booking. You can say planning for group. What? No. So someone is just saying leisure group. No. Choose group and the element of the trip both, and send in your answers. Okay. I'm waiting for more people to send their answers. Okay, a lot of people have sent in their answers, and a lot of people are also saying group and planning. Um, and that's really the biggest group. We will have to focus on groups in the planning stage. Why groups in the planning stage? For two reasons. Groups is the biggest segment who takes the trips. Solo travelers is much less. People who are traveling in couples is much less. Groups is the biggest travel where it happens, either as a family or as a friend. But groups is the biggest segment where the trip planning happens. So we will first focus on groups. And now why planning? Uh, why planning? Planning is essentially, it's the toughest part for the groups to do. They have to align on where to go, when to go, what to do. Google can help them. Google has data on what all trips I've gone in the past. It has data on where I've gone, what I've enjoyed. There are no good alternatives to doing this. There is no other product in the market that is solving this problem. And it is the most time consuming process also. So if people do this, they will spend more time on Google Maps, and hence it solve the overall problem that you were expected to solve. So hence we will focus on groups in the planning stage. Others are not important because booking, again, it's already solved by other products, Yatra, Make My Trip, booking.com. Explore, users already come back to maps to explore, so not needed. Post trip, there are already existing solutions like social media, Splitwise to solve these problems, right? So hence we will go on to groups in the planning stage. Someone is asking what is an MVP? MVP is the first version of the product that you build. Now the next page, now the next part is just ideation. You have to share ideas. One good way to do is leverage chat GPT. And this is something that has grown very well in the past. So what I would do, I would like to take a live example of how we can use chat GPT to create these ideas. Let me know if you want me to do this. Sorry. Just drop a yes in the chat if you want me to go to chat GPT and just brainstorm ideas on this. Okay, a lot of people saying yes, let's do this. Let me share my screen. Mhm. Mm. Cool. Are you able to see my screen? Please drop a yes in the chat if you are. Okay, awesome. So let me give us a note. Act as a product manager for Google Maps, solving a problem of end-to-end trip planning. Focus only on users traveling in groups and solve for the planning stage of travel. Anything else you want me to add to this prompt? And- Or drop a yes in the chat if you think this prompt is great. We'll move on. Cool. Awesome. Let's do it. See, it has given some amazing solutions. Some of these solutions are beyond what we would essentially what we were focusing on, for example, budget management or post-trip reviews. We did not want to do it, but that's okay. I think that's a downside of working with AI, but it has given some great solutions to us. So, and that's how you can use ChatGPT to brainstorm. Also use it to prepare of how you can brainstorm on different ideas, right? So that's how it is really useful. I'm just dropping this prompt also in the chat so all of you can use it and for your better practice. I am done now with my session. We will have a colleague joining in from Jobaz to tell you more about how can you enter into the world of product management and how can you do it in a seamless manner. But until he joins, I will take a few questions. So please feel free to ask any questions in the chat and I'll try and answer those.